We are delighted to have with us a distinguished guest from the University of Cambridge, the Treasurer of the Royal Society, as well as the Goldschmidt Professor of Material Science, Professor Anthony Cheetham. I request Professor Cheetham to speak a few words about this.
Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it does give me enormous pleasure to participate in this magnificent ceremony to mark Didi's 60th birthday. And what I have in mind for the next sort of 3 or 4 minutes is not really just to continue with the adulation, but to give a little bit of what, on an occasion like this, an American would call a roasting. But I have to say, it's quite difficult to roast Didi because he's such a decent chap. But let me have a go. I mean, I think, like other speakers, I'm thinking that there must be a mistake with the age, and that none of us can possibly imagine that this man before us here is 60 years old. 50 at the most, we might say. And so I thought, because we're all scientists more or less, we might look at the scientific evidence that his age is indeed correct. And this comes from several sources. And first of all, I think that you and I first met 30 years ago here in Bangalore when it was the 50th anniversary, I think it was the golden anniversary of INSA. And that was a meeting in Delhi followed by a workshop here in Bangalore. And Didi looked just the same as he does now at that point. And other speakers have said he looks just the same as he did 30 years ago. And on the other hand, at that point, 30 years ago, he looked at least 30, if not 40. So it's possible he may actually be 70 and not 60. This is certainly a real possibility. So I looked at the Web of Science and to see what that indicated. And I think he seems to have had 2 careers, because if you look at the work in condensed matter physics and material science, then his first paper appears to have been published in 1979. But however, there is a Didi Sharma who was publishing 10 years earlier in the sort of world of mining, and I wonder if condensed matter physics was actually your second career, which would again suggest that you might be 70 rather than 60. On the other hand, you know, his H index is quite remarkable. If he's only 50, his H index is well in excess of his age. If he's actually 70, it's significantly lower than his age. So. It could be that if he was only 50, he would have had to publish his first paper when he was 14 as well, which even by Professor C.N.R. Rao's standards, that's quite excessive, I think. So. Now, the third point I'd like to make is that actually he must be at least 60, because his accomplishments professionally are so remarkable and wide-ranging that no younger man could possibly have done that. So I think where I'd like to leave this issue, I can't completely confirm, but we could probably all agree that he's somewhere between 60 and 70 and doing extremely well. Now, I'd like to just mention one other thing, though. If he is indeed 60, then he's clearly got some special potion that he hasn't shared with the rest of us, possibly not even with dear Abba, his wife. I didn't think I would go there, but I couldn't resist the temptation when the moment came. And it's a little bit like the recipe for Coca-Cola or Angostura bitters, you know. It's going to be released on his passing, and then the rest of us can, if we're still around, can still benefit from it. But let me turn to some of your other professional achievements, which are clearly at the interface between physics, chemistry, and material science. And I was looking at the Web of Science, as I just mentioned, and he's published more than 400 papers. He's got more than 11,000 citations, an H index of almost 60. fantastic track record. I noticed that half of his top 20 papers in terms of citations have been published since 2000. So what that tells you is that Dede's not yet over the hill. He may be at the top of it, but he's not over it and yet coming down. And about two-thirds of them are in physics journals, and the rest in sort of chemistry or sort of interdisciplinary journals like Procroy Soc A or Nature Materials. And I was most impressed by the fact that he's had 30 papers since 1986 in Physical Review Letters, which is an average of one a year over an extended period, which is absolutely fantastic. So this roasting isn't going well, actually. As I said, it's actually quite difficult, but I want to turn to some of his personal qualities just to finish off, and I'll be brief. But there's something, I was trying to think of the word for it, there's something kind of virtual about Dede, if you know what I mean. He's one of those people who appears to be able to be in two or more places at the same time. And I think he's like one of his beloved D electrons. You know, he's got a probability of being in different places in accordance with the uncertainty principle, but absolutely no certainty of being stationary in any one of them. And whether it be in Delhi, Calcutta, Kanpur, Tokyo, London, there's always a probability that he might be in all of these at the same time. When you do tie him down, however, he's absolutely wonderful company. And our mutual friend, Sir Richard Friend, the Cavendish Professor of Physics at Cambridge, was with me last week, and he summed it up very well. And I told him I was coming here on this special occasion, and he said, "How nice." And I'll just read what he said. He said, "Please give him my best regards. It's always such a pleasure to be around him and to spend time with him." So Dede, I'm going to let you off the hook at this point because I think otherwise the roasting becomes overcooked. And I'd like to say what an honor it is to be with you on this special occasion. I bring greetings from all your friends in the UK, and I look forward to many more years of wonderful friendship and brilliant science. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Cheetham, for proposing the Dede theorem and proving it right.